Okay, so welcome to the ideation webinar today. And I'll let Lisa, the co-founder of PACPO, introduce the challenge.
Yeah, hi everybody that's with us today. And if you're watching online later, welcome to our second webinar of the 2023 Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge. As Bianca mentioned, we're going to spend a little bit of time today going over what happens in the ideation phase. But honestly, we plan today as an opportunity to bring all people that are here together the chance to kind of process through what's happening for themselves, how far you've come in the challenge, what issues you might be having in the challenge, what questions, and just some team building activities as well. So next slide, Bianca.
And then
go ahead.
No, I was saying that Perla, if you want to say hi, I know she was working on her grant, but I think she was able to connect for a few minutes. If you want to say hi, Perla, too.
Yeah, Perla Myers, the executive director of the Jacobs Institute, joined us. Perla, are you going to come on camera?
Hi. Yes,
yeah.
Let me see if I can put this on here. So, okay. Hi, it's great to have you here. Welcome. And I'm really excited to see your faces and excited to see the participation of your students. So welcome to the Innovation Challenge.
Yeah, I'm Lisa Dolly. I'm a senior innovation fellow, and my camera's been broken all week, but I'm supposed to get it back tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be back on camera tomorrow. And Bianca, would you like to just introduce yourself, and Jessica and Tezeru?
Yes, of course. So my name is Bianca, and you've been getting a lot of emails from me, and I'll continue to be in communication with you all. So I'm helping lead the challenge this year along with Lisa. And Tezeru.
Hey everyone, my name is Tezeru Tishome. I just joined the PACFul team. I think it's been a month now, and I'm excited to meet you all and continue on this journey with you.
And Jessica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'm in the same boat as Tezeru. I was just joined the team, and I'm really excited to see what the students come up with because I studied social innovation as well. So.
Thank you. So we have a little activity, and I moved it down to Tezeru just so we can let maybe a few people more join. But I'm going to go over some logistics for the webinar. Some of you are joining who are watching the recording, or you're live here with us today. You know that we have, here's the timeline for the challenge. So the most important date to remember is April 29th, when all the recorded pitches for the challenge are due. So you'll see some of you have been communicating with the team that when you're asking us or letting us know that you haven't been able to start the challenge, or that you're barely getting with the students started, or you're starting with the teams of students, getting them organized, that's fine. So we started in January 10th. So as long as you continue and watch the webinars, if you're just joining, go back and watch the January 10th webinar, and this is on the website. If you have any issues finding that information, just let me know. But it's on the main challenge website, which is pacfo.org/GTIC23. So today we're recording the Ideate webinar, and we have the following times and dates here. But again, the most important date to remember is April 29th. If you have to go back and forth in working around this different timelines and go back to the prototype or the Ideate content, or even the understand phase, that's fine. So you have all this time to work through the different content. Just the most important date here is April 29th, when all the pitches are due online. But the curriculum is flexible. So feel free, you're not behind, is what I'm trying to say. You're not behind if you're barely getting into the platform or having your students sign up. In the emails that I have been sending you, it gives you all the details of the things that you should have done up to this point, which we'll go over in a moment. And for this year, we have an announcement too, which is Jessica's gonna go over.
So we're excited to offer an additional sponsored prize to this year's challenge from DRS Daylight Solutions. So student teams who create a solution in the field of photonics are eligible to receive an award of $1,000 to a charity of their choice. They receive recognition from DRS Daylight Solutions, who will share the news via their marketing channels, and they will provide a certificate of their achievement and mentoring from DRS Daylight Solutions to help take the solution that the team comes up with to the next level upon request. To qualify for this award, the solution must relate to the field of photonics, the physical science of light waves. And just to be more specific, photonics deals with the science behind the generation, detection, and manipulation of light, and plays an important role in many technologies that we use every day. So some examples of that are like laser light, fiber optics, infrared, but they must include an additional write-up as to how their solution aligns and furthers the field of photonics. And award consideration will only be provided for solutions that meet the general submission requirements for the challenge event, as well as being a substantially complete solution.
Thank you, Jessica. So once we get to that point to the submission of the pitches, we'll send you the form that includes all this information. And during the pitch webinar, also we'll go over all the details of what information you need to include. But we just added 2 examples from last year's winners, so you can see if you want to click on those on your own time. Again, we'll email you the slides. And if you're online, we send those through the chat. But we have 2 awards there, the Dante Award and the Empower Award, where they use this category to create social innovations from last year. So with the Dante team, they were trying to create a trash that could self-identify and sort trash using a laser from recyclables to non-recyclables. And then we also had the Empower team that their main goal was to help families sanitize water through an affordable and sustainable and dynamic power generation system. So we left those links there if you want to take a look. I know with one of the teams, one of the educators co-collaborated with another educator from the science field to help students design this solution. So don't feel afraid to go ahead and find a collaborator, another person, another educator who has like expertise in this field if you have access to that. But again, the level of design for this program, as long as it connects with the different topics that we mentioned here, it's fine. And then also, don't forget that we have all these prizes for this year's challenge. So that's also, besides the Photonics Innovation Award, we have these prizes for students to compete. And we have a wellness activity with you that Tezeru is gonna go over.
Yes, hello everyone. Once again, welcome to the Ideation webinar. Today we'll be doing a very popular mindfulness activity that encourages you to look at your feelings and thoughts from multiple perspectives. Rose, thorn, bud. Anyone heard of this before? Okay, awesome. So roses are what's going well in your life, thorns are what's challenging, and buds are what you're looking forward to. In connection to the ideation phase, there are lots of ideas and recommendations thrown around, which is great. In building off the last webinar of understanding, this type of wellness activity can help narrow down on those ideas and engage them through multiple perspectives so you can have a holistic understanding of its benefits, meaning roses, challenges, meaning thorns, and regenerative potential, meaning buds. So I would like to open up the space to everyone here and let's get to talking. What are some roses going on in your life? And this might even work better with a smaller group. What are some really, really good things in your life? And you might want to even take a moment and think about that. And then also think about some thorns and what are you looking forward to? You can feel free, since we have a small group, to just unmute yourself and start sharing. And this also includes the team. You know, I'll start off to model if that's all right. A rose that's going well in my life, you know, I have insurance and I'm really happy about that. I've been making all types of health appointments. I'm really looking forward to that. A thorn would be, yeah, the cost of living, and you know, we're keeping it real. The cost of living in San Diego is going up and up and up. My rent just increased by a couple hundred. Okay, and then a bud is this. I'm looking forward to this. Great. Amy O and Lisa, thank you all so much. Amy O, can we hear from you? Do you mind reading what you wrote? Or Lisa, feel free to unmute yourself.
Oh, maybe I'll just talk about my bud really quickly because I'm getting more immersed in Mexico culture and learning more Spanish, which is amazing for me, especially because we're working on building a new project in Minecraft that I'm really excited about. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Amy, I see you unmuted yourself. We can't hear you. Okay, let's have you work on that. Miss Douglas, you're new to the group. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, Rose was a counseling session that took place during lunch with 2 sisters and a friend. It was about a traumatic experience that they just went through, but just the experience of being in that meeting with them and seeing how the conversation and how they were interacting with each other, how that changed during the course of the launch. It was great to experience and to be part of that. Thorn, I think that, you know, balance between self-care and time management and work and ideas and everything that I want to do, and I want to be, you know, spending also quality time with those around me. And both, I'm always full of new ideas. I'm actually going to start a new yoga and mindfulness class for the high school students. Just something that I wanted to do. It's not a class. I just want to do it as part of an assets program. I put it in. So I'm excited about that. That's starting next week.
Wow, kudos to you. Thank you so much on behalf of your students. I know they'll definitely appreciate that. And Amy, if your audio isn't working, I can just read yours. Yeah. Okay, Amy O, we can't hear you unfortunately, but a rose for Amy was her STEM class completed a new fun project. That's really exciting. At some point, we'd love to hear about that and maybe even see if you guys can connect it to this challenge. Thank you, Bianca, for contributing. Would anybody else like to contribute before we move on?
I would like to
Wonderful.
share that a rose is the boot camp that we're going to be doing this weekend. We've been putting a lot of work into it, and I'm really excited to work with the students and get out in the field. I've been looking forward to it. There's been a lot of work that went into it, so looking forward to that.
And Ruth, would you like to share a rose,
Yeah.
thorn, and that?
I would love to. So in the month of January, we had prepared our kids according to their interest, aligning with the UN goals, a lot of service projects around Salt Lake City area in Utah. And our service week was phenomenal. And so that was so much fun. And so this works hand in hand with it because they have been working for all these charitable organizations around our town, and now they're ready to innovate their own. And so this is like a great next step for us.
Wonderful. Yes, Ruth. Great. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Oh, wonderful. Amy added on to that, onto her rose, saying that the thorn was a lot of juggling of life work and overwhelming needs of students. Her bud is that she's excited to be hosting a STEM family night at her school. Wonderful, Amy. Wonderful. And just to give you all some context, the boot camp that Jessica was referring to is an immersive, intense 2-day event where students, young people will kind of do something like this, but in 2 days. So what would take 4 months, they're doing in 2 days. And it's going to be really exciting and site focused on the Tijuana Estuarian Natural Reserve. So thank you all for participating in this wellness activity. I hope you all can bring this to your students, maybe analogize this activity to the ideation phase like I had modeled earlier. You know, in order to narrow down on the ideas, let's look at them from every perspective. In order to understand ourselves, let's look at how we feel from every perspective. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teseru, for leading us on this wellness activity. And again, this year we're testing with this section of adding a wellness activity. So definitely let us know through email. I always CC Teseru, so let us know what you think about this wellness activity. And our hope is that you're able to implement them with your students too. Sometimes, as we can probably see, it's late January. Once the semester starts with your students, it's very challenging to sometimes take a break, but it's really important too. So we hope that you're able to implement those activities, and that you also keep in mind for the challenge that we're all struggling, everyone, as we are preparing for the challenge, right? There's like a lot of things going on, both in your classroom. You're probably dealing with different things, maybe with family or your community or in different areas. So sometimes it's very challenging for educators to connect online live. That's why we have that recording available for them to watch on a later time. And again, that's the whole point of the curriculum, to provide you the flexibility to watch the recordings and everything at your own pace with your students. So keeping that in mind, I think it's really important. Any other comments from Lisa or Perla that you want to share?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Me too. It sounds wonderful. Just wonderful.
Okay, so we just want to do a quick recap here. So if you're able to, Teseru, can you launch the poll to see? We want to take some insight to see polls to see how we're doing on the steps that we were asking you to do from last time. So if you're just watching this recording for the first webinar during the kickoff, we asked you to, one, create a teacher account. So if you haven't done that, please go back to the email where we're giving you directions of where to do that. And another one is inviting students using your portal Q code, your teacher code that is available on the portal on Packful. Another one is to introduce yourselves to the Facebook group. And again, we'll make the slides available to you so that you can click on the slides that you need to. And another one was to start working on the activities under the understand phase. And again, don't worry if you haven't, or you have started one or two of these activities, there's still time, right? So you have until April, what do we say on the deadline, April 29th. So you can always at any point go and complete any of these activities. So no one is behind here. Do it when you have a moment. So let's take a look at the poll questions. And if you think you're ready, if we think we have all the answers, Tesoro, we can end the poll and share the results. Or if somebody needs more time, just let us know. And Janelle, thank you for answering there in the chat. I'm going to have my students into Packful class tomorrow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And again, we're all going at our own pace, different semesters, different classes. I know some of you might be working with your students after school, during lunch, or for a specific class. So again, don't feel that you're behind. Just whenever you get to, start completing those activities as we get closer to the video pitch and the April 29 pitch submission. So let's take a look at the final results. Okay, nice. Okay, I'm seeing really good. Okay, so I see that a lot of you have completed the teacher account. That's great. You have invited your students to the class. That's amazing. So again, if you are joining for the second year this year, I need to create a teacher account under Packful for you, a new one. So you can invite new students using a new code. So if you're rejoining the challenge this year, make sure that you send me your new class name. But of course, if this is the first time joining, then you can just use the one you created when you sign up for the account. And I see also that you have introduced yourself to the Facebook community. That's amazing. If you're watching that recording, if you haven't done so, please join our Facebook group and share your work, and we'll talk a little bit of that too in a moment. And I see that we're like, a few of you have started to work on the understand phase. Some of you not, and some of you are in progress, and that's fine, right? So again, from each phase of the, I'll come back to the breakout sessions, but from the phases that we're going over, so we went over the understand phase last time. If you haven't watched the webinar, please go back and watch the understand phase on the website. And go through the different activities that we provide. Again, we provide you different activities, but it's up to you to decide which ones you're gonna work with students. And today we're gonna go over the different activities that are available under the Ideate phase. So we're gonna do a little bit of a breakout room here, so that we can get just some insight on one-on-one conversations. I know that we started doing a little bit of that right now, of jumping into conversations, but we're gonna do a small group breakout room. Tesoro, if you can start that going on for us, maybe 3 people in each breakout room. So what you're gonna do there is that you are going to discuss these different questions. So feel free to introduce yourselves, what school you're teaching, what grade, and have each person answer. You won't have enough time for everybody to answer, but answer some of the questions. How are your students progressing through the understand phase? What are your students' overall reaction to Packful so far? If there's like a specific global goal that they're, if you have selected a global goal already, feel free to share that. And what has been the most helpful to you? What would be the most helpful to you as you progress So yeah, I think Teseru, you already sent out the invitation to join a team. So please,
Yes.
thank you. So join that team and we'll come back in 3 minutes.
And I'll also post the question so you guys all have that in your inbox.
Thank you so much. Hi, Janelle.
Hello.
Hi, Amy. We know you're having a hard time with your mic.
I know.
I-
Does that?
Oh, we can hear you.
Yay. It's only taken 4 years to figure out how to do it half the time. So
Oh, we lost Jessica. So Janelle or Amy, if you want to start sharing what have you been up to with the students, where you are, where you need help, anything would be great.
Amy, why don't you go first because your audio is working right now.
sure. Yeah. Before I lose you again. Well, I've been spending a lot of time just kind of going through all the resources and deciding how I'm going to approach it because I've never done any of it before. And I've landed on something that I like to introduce the global goals to students because I think they'll be surprised at kind of the breadth of everything they cover. So on Monday, I'm going to have students try to predict or guess as many as they can. And then we're going to kind of match them up with the pictures and images from the Global Goals poster. And then I'm going to show them pictures from the other ones and see if that'll give them like clues to figure it out. So I really want to get them kind of involved and see what they might know about or predict. And I think they'll guess some of them, but I think they'll be surprised by some. So that's where we are. And then I'm going to give students time at first to start thinking about projects. And it's going to be something we kind of chip away at every Monday in groups. So I'm going to give them a long time to do it instead of trying to, squeeze it into one, to fewer sessions. So they'll have a couple months to think on it.
That's amazing.
All right. So I've got what I think are the babies of the group because I teach middle school. And if the class that's participating in this is my life skills class. So I've got 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. So they're little, like some of them are 11. But I did show the videos that were about the challenge. And I did show, I think, 1 or 2 partial video clips from last year's winners. So when the students realized they were going to be participating in it, they were extremely overwhelmed because those were so incredible last year. Like, we can't do that. We can't do that. Like, yeah, you are. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. So this is my first time doing this also, and I'm muddling through, but I know I tend to kind of get paralyzed when I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just like, okay, let's just keep moving. So last week I had the students decide which of those 17 goals they were most interested in. And I had to choose, I had to form groups based on which were the 8th graders that were old enough because they had to be 13. So the 8th graders got placed first into their chosen field or chosen areas. And then you had to put all the other 7th and 6th graders into where they wanted to be. And because it's middle school, who didn't want to work with each other and who did want to work with each other. So tomorrow, I am going to get them onto the Practical app and they're going to, start figuring out like, okay, what do we do now? So that's where we're at. So at least they're into groups, at least they have their area, and we're just going to muddle through.
That's amazing. And we do see that a lot of teachers like learn with their students, right? And that's fine. That's fine. I think that's also the process of like being open, because sometimes we once we have it figured out, like there's a specific way we do it, but then like if we don't know, then we're like open and flexible to go with it too. Thank you.
I also have middle schoolers, so I'm in kind of the same boat. But earlier this year, we did a congressional app challenge, which was again something that I hadn't really done that had like this, you know, similar like parameters and timelines. And that's not usually how I run my STEM class. So I was like, I don't know if it'll work, but it was interesting to watch how the kids all kind of took it in their own direction. And I anticipate that, you know, happening the same with this. So I think there'll be varying levels of success, but I think they'll all learn something from it. So it'll be great.
Maybe Amy, Janelle, if you want to exchange emails, that might be good for you since you're working both with middle school students to share some insight. You can use the chat box here. That's helpful.
Is the
Oh, you muted yourself, Amy.
I didn't know if the chat was for the whole meeting or just for the breakout. Okay, we always did Google
The
Meet. So
breakout.
yeah, I'll throw mine in there right now. I'm at Earl Warren in San Diego. So
Oh, nice.
there you go.
Okay, so we're gonna close out the
Perfect.
room, but it was great, Janelle. Thank you so much, and Amy
Yep,
for sharing.
thanks.
So we're trickling back. So I'll wait for everybody to come back before we continue. I think the other team might be intensively talking in the breakout room. Okay, I think we are all back. Is that correct, Cesaro?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry, Jessica, if you want to type that in the chat, I think that was just a video. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I think as the probably the other team saw that it was a very helpful breakout team. Maybe some before we continue, I want to share that many of you are going through this process for the first time, and this is fine. Sometimes we see that teachers are learning with their students to go through the phases, and that's perfectly fine. Again, it's up to the educator to decide how much time they're going to spend on each phase, what activities they're going to assign to their students, especially because you're working with them at different settings. So it ranges, right? Some teachers might be working with them in the one class, school club. So it really, really depends. But I just wanted to mention that so you know that not everybody's on the same boat. So everybody's going through that challenge from different perspectives. Some of them are working with middle school students, high school students, different ages, different subjects. So again, don't think that you're the only one. You're all going through like the challenge through different phases. So is there anything else that you want to share, Lisa, before we jump into the Ideate phase from that breakout room?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's dive into the Ideate phase, which we're gonna go over today. And so the Ideate phase, so what's the Ideate phase? Within the Ideate phase, students will expand on their learning from the understand phase to clearly state the problem they're trying to solve and brainstorm solutions. The goal here is to create many original and unique ideas and then narrow it down to the best one that they can start modeling in their prototype phase. So what is the Ideate phase? It's really trying to articulate the problem that you want to solve and then brainstorming ideas to solve potential solutions. So let's go over this video that's gonna go briefly over the Ideate phase. And again, use all this content with your students too, all the videos and all the content that is available in Factful. If you cannot hear, let me know.
Now that you understand the problem, it's time to ideate and come up with solutions. At first, you might be overflowing with ideas, or you might have trouble coming up with ideas. The first step of ideating is to stop, catch your breath, and clearly frame the problem into an actionable question. For example, how might we provide flood victims clean drinking water in order to prevent illness? This question will guide your project so you're all working toward one goal. Next, you'll go broad and brainstorm many solutions, tapping into your creative confidence to boldly share all your ideas. Even if you think some are bad, all ideas are valuable and have the potential to spark new thoughts and solutions. To get to one great idea, you need to start with a lot of them. Once your team has lots of ideas, you'll go narrow and pick the best ones based on their innovativeness, usefulness, and your team's skills and resources. Picking the best ideas can be tricky since you might disagree. It's okay. Disagreements are normal in teams. You can work through them by talking until you reach a compromise. Your best ideas will emerge when you're sharing thoughts and working together to create a solution for your question. It takes teamwork to make the world a better place.
So I'm gonna let Lisa guide you through the different activities, especially how to frame the problem for identifying an idea. And Lisa, just let me know when to move to the next slide.
Yeah, I'll just do this briefly. It's kind of repeating and going into answering any questions that you might have. So feel free to speak up or type them in chat. In this phase, and you could spend an hour and do all three of these things in Ideate with the kids. You might spend 3 weeks on it. It really depends on the amount of time that you have to dedicate toward the project overall. But it's really moving from that big question. So let's say that your kids started with the question or a focus area like homelessness in San Diego, right? And why do we have homelessness? How can I help the homeless in San Diego? It's really starting to get it narrowed down and framing the problem that they in particular want to solve. And so through their research, talking to homeless people, interviewing council people, reading things online, maybe they found out that there's a problem with homeless women, safety, and their children, right? And keeping children safe when homeless women are living on the street. And so the question might get very tightly framed or tighter framed as how might we help homeless women stay secure when they're with their children sleeping on the street? It's a narrowing down and helping your students get real tight on how can we, based on whatever they found out during the understand phase. The going broad is just the brainstorming part of it, and making sure that you provide the space and encouragement for everyone's voice to be heard in the process, that there are no ideas discounted early on. And then we provide different activities. And so you might choose a brain dump, a brain write, a worst possible idea. These are all different ways at getting ideas out of kids and encouraging all kids to have a voice. And then the going narrow. Do you want to go to the next slide? I think I kind of talked about this. And so when you're in the platform, on the right is an actual screenshot and a video of the curriculum in the platform. And so your kids can work through this on your own. You could share the video in class, but it does help the kids get the question framed that they want to solve and develop a prototype for. Next slide. And then, as I mentioned, these are the some of the different activities that you'll see for going broad and brainstorming and getting all the ideas out on the table. This is where you do tend to see lots of sticky notes and things like that. And I can't overstate how important it is to make sure every kid has at least one idea on the table. I think I mentioned this at our last webinar, but one of the winning teams from last year, the winning idea of the overall competition came from a girl who was very withdrawn, depressed, and thinking about dropping out of school. And the team ended up choosing her idea. And the fact that their team won with her idea was so empowering for that girl. It really reinvigorated her in her educational process again. So just encouraging to make sure everyone's voice is heard. And then on the next slide, Bianca. finally, once all these ideas are out on the table, the team's going to have to go through a process of narrowing down and picking 1, 2, 3 ideas, and then even maybe narrowing down from there. In the narrowing down, you will run into debate, which is good and normal and to be encouraged. And this is where you may want to facilitate that idea of working in teams. Often involves openly listening to other people's ideas, giving your feedback on them, sharing what you think, and trying to come to consensus about which idea do they think is achievable. Number one, they have to be able to achieve it, right, with the team's resources and time. And 2, which are they almost passionate about. And so those are the 2 main things that I look for in the going narrow, especially when working with kids. Sometimes they'll come up with amazing ideas, but they don't have the resources or time to execute on it very well, to at least get a prototype done of the idea. And I think that's the overview of ideating. It's one piece of the overall design thinking process. And these 3 phases can be as short or as long as you need them to be, depending on how much time you have with your students. On next slide, Bianca, I think that's it for those. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it for the ideation. Thank you, Lisa. If anybody has questions on the ideate phase, please, you can type in your questions in the chat or unmute yourselves too. We have a few announcements, but as Lisa mentioned, we have gone actually through all the phases with students through like our 7-day boot camp. So it's really up to you to decide how much time you can devote to each phase. And I don't see any questions, so let's jump through the last announcements. Jessica, please.
Yes, so throughout the competition, we'll be giving Storyteller Awards to teams who share their progress on social media using the hashtag JTIC23. So that's exciting. And you can do it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just posting pictures of them working or screenshots of their work. Anything of that nature would be considered sharing. And then we want to take a moment to spotlight some of our teachers who have been posting on social media. And we'd like to encourage everyone to continue to share your progress with the hashtag JTIC23. This week, the award's going to Justin. As you can see here, these are some of his posts on Twitter, which are really cool. So yeah, like I said, just screenshot of the students' work or photos of the teams and their progress, and posting to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Make sure you use the hashtag, and hopefully you'll be next when we have our next meeting.
Thank you.
I wanted to just add on that we've had student teams who ended up posting. So they would create a channel for their project that they were working on and do posting themselves. And that's okay too. Students are invited to post.
Thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. So yeah, as long as they do the hashtag JTIC23, we are able to find their posting. So this can be in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even within our own private Facebook group that Tezeru is going to invite you once more to join.
Yes, everyone, please join the Facebook group. It's a fun space where we post announcements and get to know each other on another platform. Thank you, Miss Douglas, for joining recently. It was awesome to see that notification. Ruth, Janelle, Amy, let's get you on there if you're not already. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So we'll do Q&A right now. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type those in the chat. No questions? Okay. So Janelle, how many participants are in this challenge? So as far as educators, we have 107, Jessica. And students, I have to do the recount.
Students, I think, was almost 2,500 students.
That should be around that total.
Yeah, and I don't know, we haven't counted how many countries this year. In the past, it was around 15 to 20 countries, kids in 15 to 20 different countries in any given challenge.
So I'm gonna stop the recording in case anybody wants to ask any questions offline. That's fine. So I'll start the recording here. If you're watching the recording, feel free to send us a message through email with any questions. Thank you.